best camera. Listen, I understand there are a lot of cameras out there. You got Canon, Fuji, Sony, Blackmagic, Zcam, and the list goes on and on and on. But honestly, there's never going to be the best camera. And I know we've heard this over and over and over, but I like to say this. If Quentin Tarantino gave you all
Hello?
of the gear that he used
Hey,
in his film,
how are you?
I'm good, you.
I'm good.
I know
Listen,
it's
I didn't want
you
to,
can't
I'm
do
sorry
that
to
because there's more to it
bother
than
you or catch you at a bad time if I did. But I just wanted to talk to you for a minute. I have something I just wanted to say and get off my chest.
there's teams of people that
You
work
know,
on
I,
things. So
I
don't say
really
things that
care
don't
for
belong
you.
and not really mean.
You really mean a
So
lot to me.
get that in your mind
I
and
just
understand
was
this.
sitting here thinking
I
about
believe, and I can
when we
guarantee you,
first
that
met,
you're going to be a lot
and
better. So
I
most
was
of
so
this time,
excited
Steve,
to meet
is
you, and
following your lead.
I was so excited to, have you in my life. You've changed me tremendously. You've made me a better person. I've learned so much from you, and I've learned so much with you. And, we've been through so much, so many different events, so many different celebrations, we have had together. And, I've really become a better person because of you. And I just wanted to tell you that, and to let you know, how much that means to me and how much you mean to me.
Oh, oh
Um,
wow.
you're really my first, well, my first love. So
Wow.
I really just wanted to say that, and I also
Oh.
wanted to say that,
In on
um,
what you love and what you do
I've
to make yourself
also
better every day.
been growing, and I'm learning
Now,
that,
this leads into
my needs are changing as
what I
well.
like this. Listen, we've heard this over
And
and
I
over.
just wanted to say that I think that although we have this great relationship and we have, what we have, and we've been through what we've been through,
We practice, the better
uh,
we will
I
become.
kind of think it's time for me
It's the way we are as
to
humans.
move
The
on.
more
What do you mean?
the
Yeah.
easier it is to understand. And it's the same with
What do I
videography.
mean? I just mean I think
The more
like
you get
everything I
better
said
at what
before
you
is true.
shoot,
I value you.
typically
I respect you. I've grown with you, but I just think I've also outgrown you.
practice,
Um,
the better you're going to
there's just
become.
certain
And I
things that you
feel you have
can't
to
do
look
for
at your
me
life
anymore
and
that I
look at
need.
all of
What? What are you talking about?
No,
I
no,
don't
no.
get it.
Just
This
listen
doesn't
to me.
make any sense.
I'm not saying that I'll never talk to you again. I'll never spend time with you again. I'm just
the
saying
more
that
you practice, the better
I
you're going to get.
need
I guarantee you
more
at this point.
from you,
All right, so moving on to
and
point
I
four,
don't know.
be
Like
patient.
what?
There's just so many other options out there. There's so many good,
Other
newer
options?
options out there, and
What?
they're beautiful. I mean,
Forced to
they're
select this.
just so
We
many. I
lose
mean,
individuals
I don't want to get off on the
and
wrong thing,
moving
but
as fast.
you're still good. But there's just so much
Whatever.
more.
Whatever.
I believe.
Unfortunately,
Hello,
are faster.
hello.
What in the world is going on?
What's going on, people of YouTube? I'm Steven with Purpose Lens Photo and Media, and today I'm going to talk about the 5 reasons you don't need a new camera. Yes, people love cameras. I love cameras. I love new gear. It's always fun to get something new. It's always fun to even see what's new. Even if I know I'm not going to get it, I like to look at it. There's nothing wrong with that. But at the same time, we have to realize that these companies out here are in business to make money. So they're going to continue to sell us things that we don't always need. Does that mean they're not good? No, they're good, but do you need it? That's what we want to focus on today. So starting off with number 1 of the 5 reasons why you don't need a new camera is you simply can't afford it. Now I know what you may be saying, oh, it's only $2,000 or $3,000. But what we fail to realize is when you look to buy a new camera, most of the time, especially like if you're going from a crop frame sensor to a full frame, you're forgetting that you're gonna have to buy lenses, you're gonna have to buy memory cards, you're gonna have to buy batteries, battery chargers, different accessories as far as the camera goes. So like if you're getting new lenses, you may need new ND filters or a new ND filter. All those things add up. And when you look at the price of a new camera, if you're only looking at the body, there's thousands and thousands of dollars that you could potentially not be taking into account. So that's the first thing, is just affording it. Just to break this down. So if you have a camera that uses an SD card, let's say you use a SanDisk 128 gigabyte SD card, those right now are running about $30. Now, if you want to upgrade to a new camera that uses the CF Express, a 128 gigabyte card right now is going to run you $200. Yes, $200 for a card that's 128 gigabytes. Is the speed going to be faster? Yes, it's going to be pretty fast, but that's $170 more than the $30 128 gigabyte SD card. So let's say you bought 6 of the 128 gigabyte regular SD cards, right? You'll have close to about 1 terabyte of space, and that will cost you about $200. Now, if you turn around and buy 6 of the CF Express cards, that's gonna be the price of a new A6400 with a lens. So you could have a second camera for the price of 4 of these CF Express cards. So that just a little bit puts it into perspective, I hope, so that you know how much money this thing is. So again, a lot of times we don't think about the cost of upgrading. So moving on to number 2 is you don't know your camera well enough. So a lot of times we look at new cameras and we think, oh, I need this camera. But really what it is you just need to sharpen your skills with the camera that you have. A lot of the times we don't use even 90% or even 60% of what our camera is capable of. I see people all the time, they ask, well, what camera do you shoot with? And I'll show them a picture, or it'll be online and someone else will show them a picture. And they'll be like, whoa, you used the A6400 for that? Well, what lens did you use? What settings did you use? What picture profile did you use? Did you use the gimbal? You know, so they have all these questions, and the reason why they have these questions is because they haven't taken the time to learn the gear you already have. Simply buying a new camera is not going to make your content that much better. So moving along to point 3 is cameras don't get worse. Now, this is something that you may not have thought about. So we live in a world now where things expire. So or like batteries. So if you have a battery for 3 years, like in your iPhone or even your camera, that battery is going to degrade over time. So you're not gonna get the same performance as you did when it was brand new. So over time, you're gonna have to replace that. Well, the same is not true for cameras. Cameras don't get worse over time. Now, what can be confusing is because technology is moving so fast, you may not have some of the things that the newer cameras have in your camera, but that doesn't mean your camera is getting old in the sense of it's losing its ability to shoot quality photos. Maybe the newer cameras have faster autofocus, or maybe there's some features in there that your camera doesn't have, but your camera is not getting worse than the day you bought it. So again, keep in mind that your camera is just as good as the day you bought it. But the thing is, you have to get better. You can't expect the cameras to get better and you don't get better yourself. So that's point 3. So moving on to point 4 is if you do buy a new camera, one thing that's gonna happen is your workflow is going to suffer. What do I mean by workflow? So your workflow is when you pick up your camera, you know you're gonna go to a shoot. Let's say you're gonna do a commercial for somebody. You know where all the buttons are on your camera. You know the dynamic range, you know how it behaves in certain situations, you know what lenses are gonna give you what focal length, you know how the autofocus is gonna be, you know all the little fine, minute details when you shoot without even thinking about it, because you familiarize yourself with the camera so much. You've even bought accessories that enhance your experience, whether it's handles, grips, tripods, mounting plates, whatever it may be. All these things you have used to make this camera a lot more friendly to you. Well, when you buy a new camera, all of that goes out of the window and you have to start from scratch again. So let's say you've had a camera for like 3 years or whatever. Now, all those years of experience with that specific camera is gone out of the window and you're starting over. And you have to ask yourself, is that advantageous to the work that I'm doing? So again, there's a huge learning curve when you buy a new camera. Sometimes it's not that great, but just know that all the little nuances and the little bits that make it easy for you to shoot that you've gotten comfortable with, more than likely are gonna go out of the window when you buy a new camera. So Moving on to the last point here is, and this I believe is one of the most important ones, your clients will not notice it. Yes, they probably won't. Now, this is not the case for everybody. If you have high-end clients and you're doing commercial work, maybe it's needed and maybe they will notice it. But if you're doing things like weddings or other things that aren't as big, chances are, if you're going from an A6400 to like an A7S or an A9 or something that's gonna be a lot more expensive, your customers, your clients are not gonna notice the difference. So that's one of the things that I think we all struggle with, because we as photographers, we look at details, we look at pixels, we look at lighting, we look at the dynamic range, we look at noise, we look at all the capabilities of the camera, and we're comparing it to another camera. We see the difference. Now, even though we see the difference, sometimes we pixel peep, we have to zoom in, and we're doing all these little things, but they're barely perceptible, even to us. Now, to an untrained eye, like your client, they don't know, neither do they care. They just want their product or whatever it is, their shoot or whatever it may be, they just want to like it. And if they booked you, more than likely, they already like your style. More than likely, they already like your quality. So there's no need to get more quality for the sake of appeasing a customer when they're already happy. I think this is just a good business practice. That doesn't mean you can't get better over time, but that doesn't mean you always need a new camera. It could just be you need new skills, or maybe a new lens, or just maybe you need to take the time to figure out which way your camera works better, or what your camera's weaknesses are. So again, I just want to stress that your customers and clients are probably not going to notice the difference. And then the last thing I'll say, which will piggyback on this, is I think one of the things that we struggle with as videographers is we think we're a lot better than what we actually are. I know that sounds bad, but I have to say that myself too. Sometimes we think the thing that's limiting us is our gear, or it's, something that if we just buy this thing, or if we can get this program, or if we can do this, then we'll get so much better. And the truth is, that's not true at all. The problem usually lies with our lack of skill, our lack of ability. And the only way to change that is to practice and to get better and take time to not only get to know our gear, but to get to know this craft, the craft of videography, the craft of photography. If you don't know the ins and outs of it, you're never gonna get better. Now, the camera may marginally add some things that you didn't have before, but it's not gonna make you an awesome photographer. I don't know of any photographers or any videographers where I think of their gear first. I think of their work, and then I see their work, and then I figure out what gear they use. But anyway, hopefully this has been helpful to you. And if you're not subscribed to the channel, go ahead and subscribe. There's gonna be a lot more information like this coming out, even with new gear releases and things like that. I wanna talk about those things as well. But thank you to those who have been supporting the channel, who have been watching the channel. I greatly appreciate it. There's so much more to come. I wanna go in a whole different direction with this thing. I wanna have fun. I want this to be a channel where we can learn, but we can also just enjoy it, be entertained as well. So anyway, thank you for watching, and I'll holler at y'all later. I'm out. Peace.